Elden Ring is a game with a massive selection of weapons, so big that it puts Drake's hog to shame. So today, I will be playing an Elden Ring roulette, and no, not the Russian kind. To sum it up for you dum-dums, Elden Ring has weapon classes, like swords, axes, bows, etc. If I were to roll axes, I can only use axe-type weapons, and so forth. The rules are, I will only be allowed to use weapons from the class I roll, I am not allowed to use summons, and I have to use each of the weapons at least once. I will also be rolling separately for the base game and the DLC. So with that information overloading your tiny noggins, let's begin the run. We end up looking out with our rolls, cause dude, if I get the whip man, like, I don't even know. Must have been the wind. We start Vari's quest so I can throw hands with Mohg. Yeah, who's maidenless now, buddy? I then use my American free will not to steal, but to borrow this sword, which I then use to slime out Fort Height for its billions of dollars worth of oil, and then finally beat up this elderly dragon for not paying its taxes to the IRS. And with that freedom in the air, it is now time to fight Margit. I'm not gonna lie, whenever I'm playing just like a casual run with my friend, Margit's a pretty big roadblock because I try to fight him level 1, get impatient, and then die. But I do have level skill advantage, so it's pretty easy for an intellectual such as myself. And with that slight ego boost from absolutely diddling Margit, we make our way through Stormveil Castle flawlessly. Yeah, so as you can see, the ego boost didn't last. However, it is now time for Godrick. Guys, I have a theory that Godrick was on the Big J's list. I mean, have you seen what he's done to those grafted scions? It's heinous. I mean, bro, he's a freak purely for the love of the game. Okay, so after doing a bit more research, apparently Godrick grafts people for the sake of growing stronger to make up for being weak. That's kind of like some people we know, lifted truck drivers. But anyways, guys, with Godrick down, we now have access to Lernia. And after a couple of side quests, I'm going straight off to fight the Red Wolf of Radagon. But honestly, guys, like, I hate this fight, bro. Just cue up the death montage. Like,
Kobe!
okay, like, pardon the yap sesh, bro, but this boss is asinine. Like, I'm over-leveled and struggling, bro. Like, this boss, the OG rage baiter. He's fast, he hits like a bus. He has the audacity to bite me after I die, bro. Like, I'm already dead, chill. Okay, but anyways, guys, you know, the lion does not get upset at filthy mutts. So, not gonna lie, guys, I totally first tried Moongrum. Like, purposely fell off the ledge, you know, knew he was gonna jump. Nothing else to say. Now, you guys can call me, like, unintelligent or whatever, bro. When I first fought this boss, it took me like 2 hours to figure out what the gimmick was. But yeah, if you didn't already know, Elden Ring stuck in the 1800s, so you got Miyazaki. He's like, hey, let's beat the students, man.
What?
But yeah, like, so you guys know, I don't condone this, you know. If you have students, please don't do the ruler to hand technique. But anyways, phase 2 is pretty easy. Between our weapon stagger and just raw damage, there isn't really any strategy. Instead, it's closer to Unga Bunga. And as we've already established, I'm extremely skilled at the game. Like, come on, guys, I'm basically a little Aggie. Like, come on, I'm so good, come on. Okay, egregious self-glaze aside, we did end up first trying her. Like, that's gotta count for something. What's that? You said nobody cares? Bro, come on. Okay, well, anyways. It is now time for the second weapon of our run. We are being guarded by Mr. Dark and Mysterious, but he was apparently unaware that I'm the real alpha.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive, just like animals.
Weapon secured. Next up, we got the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Guys, this dude's a giant sissy, bro. He needs his horse to even have a chance, dude. Not to mention, bro, stockpiling armor like he's expecting Godfrey to just come and Bautista bomb him, bro. Like I'm half your size with a red toothpick. Guys. The lion does not crash out. He stays calm in situations of stress and anguish. Remember, the only way someone else can ruin your day is if you allow them to. And with that, the Tree Sentinel has gotten an old-fashioned whipping. We now have access to Leyndell. So what's the first thing we do? Yep. Volcano Manor, baby. This fight was shockingly easy. Wait, you believed me? Just cue up the death montage, bro. Guys, it says gullible on the ceiling. Wait, no way you actually looked. Okay, but for real, this fight was starting to turn my brain into sludge. Like, I'm really genuinely starting to feel the effect of playing with no summons.
Elden Rings are meant to be played with summons.
And yo, if you're one of those people, bro, like get off Reddit and get a job, bro. Like, come on, do something for society, man.
Oh, I was not familiar. They make Ash on this tower.
Whoa, calm down, guys. It was just a joke. It was just a joke. Okay, but for real, Godfrey needs to put the axe down, bro. Like, you're not the Elden Lord anymore. I'm taking your angles like prime curry, bro. Just hop off the court, take a seat, man. The retirement home has a room available for you, bro. Like, pull up, I'll cover you, bro. Like, I got you. Okay, but with Godfrey down, I kind of hit my first roadblock here. Like, the damage is pretty bad, man. So with that being said, I did end up grabbing the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, the Dexterity Knot Crystal Tier, Margit Shackle, as well as +9ing my weapon. And just like that, we're back on track to fight Morgoth. Not gonna lie, I was gonna make a joke here, but I'm gonna pass on that one. But guys, I have a pretty big feeling Miyazaki was one of Diddy's disciples, bro. Like, I mean, just look at the state of the game, man. We got Margit Shackle, bro. We got Mohg Shackle, man. We got Sleep Pots. Like, Miyazaki, bro, what are you trying to say here, man? Okay, yap aside, man. This fight was pretty much, like, it was annoying, bro. But, hey, we got it done. Let's move on. Now, this is low-key what I imagined David versus Goliath felt like, except I don't got a big sling and a giant rock, bro. I just got a little toothpick. And I'm not gonna lie to you boys, like, Fire Giant's a total snooze fest. So to combat this, I bring you the dopamine corner. Actually, scratch that. I'm implementing 2 dopamine corners. While I would add more, you know, your guys' brains are already small enough. I don't want to fry them anymore, so we'll leave it at 2. Now that we have installed Brain Rot into Fire Giant's mental bandwidth receptor, it's time to take on the Diddy disciples. Now, these guys would normally pose a challenge to your average player, but I'm not your average player. Yeah, basically, if you guys didn't know, you can go around the map and get sleep pots, and if you sleep one of the disciples, you can basically wail on the other. And this is pretty useful in a challenge like this, since I can't use summons or really anything to distract them. It basically makes it a fair one-on-one fight, which is super nice. The other nice thing about using sleep pots is that it allowed me to get a free stagger before they woke up, and that pretty much wipes out most of their health bar in one go, so it's pretty convenient. So if you guys are struggling with this boss, like I kinda was, I would honestly recommend the sleep pot method. Works wonders. Yeah, not much else to say. That's Godskin Duo down, moving on to Rykard. Okay, so as you may have noticed, I will not be using the heavy thrusting sword for Rykard. This is the one exception to the challenge, because if you think I'm beating Rykard with a heavy thrusting sword, you either want to watch me suffer, which is possible, or you're probably mentally challenged. It's one of the two. Speaking of mentally challenged, I didn't realize you can just use the right and left bumper to hit Rykard as well, so I was pretty much just spamming my right trigger and getting rage baited by like how slow it was hitting. So yeah, you guys will be watching the run where I beat him, but that being said, it did take an embarrassingly long time to like actually win, so yeah, I didn't even really need to fight Rykard at this point. I just wanted runes, and since I can't farm the bird, I was kind of like, you know, I guess this is the main way I'm gonna get runes for now, so. But yeah, that's Rykard down and moving on to Radahn. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at this stage of the game, Radahn pretty much gets obliterated. Like, there's no other way to say it. And I know I'm fighting him a little late here, but at the same time, I did need the DLC access, so we'll just do it at this point, you know. But yeah, that was a walk in the park. And with that, Radahn has been defeated. Oh boy, Maliketh. This was definitely the hardest part of the run, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this took me a while. And that mainly comes from me using like summons throughout most of the other runs I've done. But man, when there's nobody else to take aggro, this boss is rough. I mean, I think the specific fight where I won, that you guys are watching, took me over 10 minutes. I mean, imagine that, fighting this guy in one fight for over 10 minutes. Like, that's crazy, bro. But also, this fight helped me find out a bunch of new stuff as well. Like, I have well over 600 hours in the game, and I never even knew the Blasphemous Claw existed. And for those of you who don't know, it basically just lets you parry his Destined Death attack. But yeah, I mean, other than this guy being a massive thorn in my side, there isn't too much else to say. It's kind of just rinse and repeat until you win. And just like that, that's Maliketh down. Moving on to Placidusax. Man, no, I'm not gonna lie, Placidusax is not a boss I wanted to fight. However, he is gatekeeping a weapon I need, since my dumbass said I needed to use each weapon from its respective class, so we're here and now we getting it. Now, Placidusax is a pretty cool fight, but it's also kind of tedious. Basically, you just hit him a bunch in the tail before his phase 2, and when phase 2 comes around, he teleports around a bunch, which kind of makes it hard to do like consistent damage. So you kind of have to get like a good run with RNG, I find, but other than that, I mean, it's not too bad. But yeah, if you guys made it this far and you like this kind of content, feel free to sub and leave a comment. You know, let me know how you guys feel about dragon bosses, because you know, I've never I like the way they look, but I've never been a huge fan of fighting them. I feel like it's a little more tedious than some of the other bosses, but yeah, you know, let me know how you guys feel about that. Going back to the boss, really other than him flying around the map a bunch, I'd say he's on the easier side. His attacks are pretty telegraphed in comparison to some of the other bosses I know, and I mean really the biggest struggle I found was being under leveled or not doing enough damage. Because like usually if you don't do enough damage, you know, you tend to make more mistakes, get impatient, etc. So. And that's Placidusax down, moving on to Gideon. Yeah, that boy Gideon a D1 bum, bro. You know what, Jarvis? Clip this. Now Godfrey's low-key what I imagine getting jumped by a crackhead and his dog is like. Picture this, you just grab some snacks and are leaving the convenience store, and then all of a sudden, bang! A crackhead lunges at you. And it's like, damn, now I have to dodge and shit, right? But right when you hit that flow state, his dog comes and bites you in the leg. And it's like right before you can get the dog off your leg, like the crackhead locks in and he hits a crazy combo attack, like a 1-2. And now you're dazed because he low-key rocked your shit. But before he can land that finishing blow, you low-key pull out your phone and like you start playing the We Are Charlie Kirk song. You know what I'm saying? And like that makes him remember his lost days of being a patriot. And like after that moment, he quits doing drugs and like starts pursuing the American dream. You guys know what I'm saying though, right? Like that's pretty relatable and shit. Alright, cool. But yeah, that's what fighting Godfrey reminds me of, you know? And I feel like that's kind of a pretty generalized feeling to have as well. Like I feel like most of you guys have had an experience close to that, or at least something in the general ballpark of that. But yeah, with this weapon at first, I was kind of wondering if it was like not going to be as good because it doesn't really have a status effect build up, but the actual damage of this thing is nuts. But yeah, that's Godfrey down, moving on to Radagon and Elden Beast. This fight is just another example of how busted this weapon is. I mean, not only does the Ash of War hit as hard as your uncle, but the normal right bumper also does a massive amount of damage. And I mean, it makes sense since you get this weapon so late in the game, and it's also from a secret boss. I would say if you haven't used it yet, it's worth a shot. It's also a unique weapon compared to, let's say, a katana or a magic build, so it definitely might be worth checking out for some of you guys, especially if you haven't used a thrusting sword or something similar. You know, another interesting thing is also, I hear a lot of people say that Radagon is harder than the Elden Beast, but I low-key find him easier, because Elden Beast has like, at least before you couldn't use the horse in the arena, so he would just teleport around, right? And you'd have to chase him, and it's like by the time you finally get over there to hit him, you might get like 1 or 2 hits in, and then he's just gone. And the thing that makes that a little annoying to deal with is that you can't use status effects on the Elden Beast. So really, unless you have like a really high, keen dexterity weapon, you might do a decent bit of damage, or if you have like a strength build, right? Which is probably what you're gonna need. If you go into this with like a bleed build, right? You're gonna tickle the guy, man. So, on top of having to like respec depending on the run you go, or you could just power level, I guess. But in general, I feel like he's just a harder boss fight. Or maybe more annoying is the right word, because like inherently he's not super difficult, as attacks are pretty telegraphed, they're easy to dodge. I think it's more so when the boss is teleporting around the arena constantly. He's running, he doesn't take a lot of damage, and he has a pretty big health bar. I would consider that hard, but I guess by definition it could be more so annoying than hard, if you know what I mean. But yeah guys, I remember when I first played this game, and I finally got to the Elden Beast. That was magical, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, just this whole game, it's beautiful. And it took me a while, don't get me wrong. I mean, this boss, I think the first time I fought him, took me a couple hours at least. I mean, he was super difficult, but yeah, this run has definitely been a challenge. This is probably my first time playing the game without using like a cheese builder summon, so to somebody like little Aggie, or you know, somebody like that, it would be pretty easy. You know, they've been doing it for a while. For me, this was a challenge, man. So it's definitely been a run. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely took all my hate out from this run on Mohg, dude. Like, everything has been giving me a challenge. Maliketh, mainly Maliketh, but I mean, it's just been difficult to learn, so, you know, I took the cheesiest build I could with staying within the rules of the challenge, and I just whooped this guy's ass, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. And you know, poor Mohg, dude, this guy didn't even get to phase 2. He just got whooped. And with that, the base game has been completed. So feel free to let me know if y'all want a part 2, maybe DLC related, who knows. Before y'all go, let me say a quick prayer for y'all. Lord Jesus, I pray that whoever is watching this has a beautiful day or night, that you watch over them and protect them. And I pray that they may feel your love, and that they just have a blessed rest of their week. Amen. Take care, y'all.